Today on Glow and Grow, I'm sitting down with Kana Lee, an independent woman who wears many hats just like so many of us. While I do her makeup, we talk about her journey, the lessons she's learned along the way, and the heart behind her new podcast. Make sure you stay till the end because Kana shares an advice that could really help anyone who is out there chasing their own path.
Hi, my name is Kana Lee and I am a multi-hyphenate. I am a psychotherapist, an associate psychotherapist, which means that I have my master's in clinical psychology and I'm working towards my hours for licensure. I'm also a podcaster, a new podcaster. I just launched my first show called All the Things with Kana Lee. I had another podcast that I ran with a friend of mine, and that was really cool, and that was called Learning to Human with Kana and Keegan. I'm also a mom of two young girls, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. I'm also an executive coach, and I'm me. So what inspired me to do the podcast was really quite a big series of things because I had my first podcast show with Keegan and that was really fun. We got to talk to a bunch of really interesting people, the whole journey in creating the show and things like that. It came together really well and just had a good time doing it and I kind of missed it and kind of missed having the forum to really just record conversations. And then so I started toying with the idea of doing another show. Then the thing that hit me was, everyone says you gotta niche down, you gotta come up with a specific industry or angle or whatever it is and topic, right? That makes you more searchable. And I could not narrow in on the one topic because being the multi-hyphenate that I am, I talk to so many different types of people. From one day I could be with entrepreneurs and founders and different people like that from the tech community, investors. And then the next day I will be with creatives and people that are, especially dancers, right? I have had such a long time in the dance world. And then the next day I'll be with therapists and we're talking about postmodern therapy and how to fight dominant discourse. And so I could not niche down. And then I noticed that I kept saying, all the things. And eventually I was like, that's probably what my podcast should be called. It's All the Things. And I will just talk to and record with whomever I find to be interesting. And so that's kind of how it started. Oh man, okay. So starting any creative endeavor, right? There's the internal challenge that I feel like is constant. So it's oh, no one's gonna listen to you. Why do you think that you should have a show? Who are you to do this? There are so many people doing this. Not important enough, not good enough, enough, right? So there's the internal, ongoing critic. And then there's the technical stuff. My human design, for those human designers out there, is manifester. And manifestors are not actually supposed to be the producer as well. And so manifestors are supposed to be the ones with the vision and kind of rally people to join them. And what ended up happening is okay, I have this idea, I have this drive, I have this inspiration, I have the people I want to talk to. But there's a technical aspect of podcasting, which is you got to record the thing, you've got to edit the thing, you've got to post the thing. And then from posting the thing, it's not just posting to one site or one place, right? It's actually posting and then there's the marketing promotional aspect of it. And that's the assets and creative and all that kind of stuff. So I got pretty bogged down with the fact that I'm still doing my other work, kind of got stuck there. But then I found a producer. She's a really, really good friend of mine. Shout out Helen, thank you. I love you. You're the best. And I've known her since high school and she's been through so much with me. And she saw that I needed somebody to help with production. So she said we would do that.
The struggle is actually part of the journey to get to fulfillment. And then you reminded me, so right now we are filming in 2026. The Winter Olympics just passed, and Alyssa Liu from Oakland, she is like widely quoted saying, "I love the struggle." And I mean, her story is amazing because she, took a giant time off from skating and only to come back and win the gold, right, in women's figure skating. But yeah, I'm reminded of that. It's just like you have to kind of enjoy and embrace that struggle and realize that that is kind of part of the gold in it all, I guess. It's hard. And I tell my clients sometimes, my therapy clients and coaching clients about this too. It's just, we don't like to be uncomfortable. Like discomfort is not fun, right? And we're not taught to enjoy the discomfort either. And also like a lot of the things that we're doing, so entrepreneurship and like starting new projects, starting new creative endeavors, like all of these things, we're not necessarily we're not taught to do it. Like, how do you even know how to do it, right? Like, I know you're self-taught, right? With makeup and stuff, and like, if you didn't, pick up the brush and start to do it on your own, like, you weren't gonna get anybody to teach you. And so it's kind of a, I don't know, it's a really interesting place where we also, you have to sort of embrace that struggle and the discomfort and being okay with being uncomfortable, but man, that's hard too. Yeah, it's really interesting to see how things evolve, right? And like, because I imagine younger you, when you first became a makeup artist, did not ever think that like decades later you would be here starting a YouTube channel, right? And then also you've had quite a few businesses in between. I was just like going through my stuff. We're reorganizing the office. Shout out Owen, thank you. Owen is helping me reorganize my office. And I came across some old like lip scents. And I know you were doing that business for a little while, and then I jumped in very like as a hobbyist in it because a friend of mine in Pennsylvania from college, she's actually the sorority sister, she introduced me to it, and I was like, oh, this is fun, and like it makes sense, right? Like the product made sense at the time for me, and so I was like, oh, I think my friends would like this. So yeah, but I remember our friend Lonnie telling me that you did it, and that actually gave me more confidence because I was like, oh, Trish is a professional makeup artist, so if she's doing it, then I must be onto something. I come from the restaurant industry background. Well, I have a background in the restaurant industry, right? I ran my parents' restaurant, and then also was general manager at Katsuya in Brentwood for a while. And
I remember that.
That's like 2 lifetimes ago, maybe something like that. I've had like 3 major career shifts, but when I was running the restaurant and started my Arbonne business, I don't know, sometime around then, or maybe a little bit after. And as you're like recruiting people or talking to people or selling products, whatever it may be, oh my goodness, dog on my lap. I realized very quickly, like, the way MLMs sell the fact that like anyone can do it, like it's partially true, right?
Yeah.
Some people, yes, it's pretty like simple to start, quote unquote. But not everybody should be a business owner.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody should be in sales. That's just not everybody's forte. And so, I was like, okay, I can see the benefit of like folks, getting a discount or getting paid on their recommendations and things like that. But like beyond that, I'm like, not everybody wants to run a business, and that's okay, right? But yeah, it's a part of that business model that like is interesting,
and not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. But what was beautiful about it is it can open your eyes to see that maybe you could be one. Just maybe not in that aspect, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Not as a multi-level, but maybe something for yourself.
And that was the thing. Like I was always a bit conflicted, right? Because because they're not wrong. Like setting up these types of things, the distribution models, the pay scale, the pay models, like all the products, like all of that, like they do take a lot of the heavy lifting out of, you know, creating a business. But again, it's definitely not for everyone. Well, let's see. So after I graduated college, undergrad, I always kind of knew like I wanted to go back to school for something. And I double majored in poli-sci and comm arts. And so the natural place that I think a lot of people typically go is law school. And for a long time, and that's also what would have made my parents happy, and you know, society and whatever. And so I just kept thinking like, oh, it's time for you to go to law school, it's time for you to go and take the LSAT, it's time for you to go do that. Like, but there was a big part of me that was just like, I don't know if that makes sense for me, right? And at that time I was also like, I was really, really involved in dance, and so I was running an all-female hip-hop dance company, shout out Groovaholics, and yeah, and you know, I just, law school was not the right fit for me. And then later on, it was like, okay, well, what's the next thing that everybody says you're supposed to do? Okay, I guess if I want to go back to school and get my master's in something, then go get your MBA. And especially since I had been working in marketing and business and, you know, hospitality and all of that and management, so it was just like, that's a natural thing for me to do. But nothing about that really like excited me or like made me kind of, you know, like say, yeah, I gotta go do that, right? So I think like I had been in personal therapy now for back then for, I don't know, a few years, and it dawned on me that I just love talking to people, and I love like getting to know them and understanding them, and just, I don't know, I had always just been sort of a good listener to people and stuff like that, and people sought me out. And so I was reminded of this moment in like, I don't know, 2008, when I was working in architecture, and we're sitting in downtown LA, like outside of the office, and I remember just like having a chat with friends, and I was like, you know what, I want this, like somebody needs to pay me to do this, and we just sit and talk to people, right? And so, I mean, my goodness, that's almost like 20 years ago or whatever. And then so when I finally got into my master's program, started it, and finished it, you know, I had 2 babies while I was also getting my master's, and I was still working full time. And so I gotta say, like, that was definitely a big kind of highlight moment, because it all sort of like made sense too. It's like, it was the pathway towards something that I knew like would eventually become a business, which would eventually become just many more things, a way for me to make an impact, a way for me to support people, a way for me to also satiate the desire inside of me that is, you know, wanting to learn more and connect with people. So yeah, I think landing in the therapy realm really was a big part. Starting my fractional CMO life was also really interesting, because there's a lot of imposter syndrome that also stepped in there, or showed up for me. Thank you so much, imposter. You're so helpful. But yeah, I think like just, you know what it was is community really showed up for me. My relationships really showed up for me, because the minute I said, hey, I think I want to do this, right? I think I want to start kind of, you know, supporting venture funds and tech companies in this role. A lot of my friends were like, that also were in the same industry, was like, yeah, and I've got a project for you. Yeah, how about this? Like, oh yeah, let me introduce you to so-and-so who's looking for, you know, a fractional CFO or whatever it may be. So that was really cool to see. Like, I think it's also extremely validating, because it just tells you kind of, you know, the quality of the relationships that you have. I think when people are thinking of you or showing up for you, or it means a lot. So I don't know if that really truly answered your question, but that was those are some big moments in my recent years because of kind of where I'm at, how the various pathways of the things that I'm doing are coming to fruition. I think I've been in personal therapy. I've had a therapist now, not the same one, but I've had a therapist for over 8 years straight. So pretty consistent with my own personal therapy. And I've also worked with coaches. And so I think leaning on people around me that either know me or are trying to get to know me, and help me see through the fog, if you will. I think that's really helpful. When I became a mom, I think I also just lost the energy and time to have all those ruminating thoughts cloud my days, because you're too busy. You're too busy to think. I was telling my therapist yesterday, I was like, sometimes there's nothing in my head. It's just empty. And I just go to my calendar and I'm like, what do I need to do next? And then I just go do that. And I kind of know where I'm supposed to go, and but in order to get through that, I think the journey has been a lot of reflection, a lot of journaling all of my thoughts and things like that. And then I'll tell you what I tell my clients, and it's sometimes there's multiple different ways of doing this, but one thing would be is to two parts. One is having community, like I said, having people that know me well, there to support me and lift me up when I am feeling a bit who am I to do whatever. And if I have a good strong group of people that I can count on, some people call it their kitchen cabinet, right? Some people, I have a good friend, hi Nafisa, she says, she calls it her consigliere, so your close personal cabinet, right? I think I've been so fortunate to have developed some really great relationships that I know that if I need something, or if I'm feeling some sort of way or feeling down, I can reach out and they are ready to give me evidence that I can do whatever it is that I'm wanting to do. Mm-hmm. They're ready to pump me up if I need that. They're ready to listen and just be a shoulder to cry on type of person if that's what I need in the moment. But I think really leaning on relationships has been probably the biggest difference in getting past imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we all know that a support system is so important, and it can make or break the difference in so many ways, right? And I think when I had my Arbonne business, I think the thing you learn very quickly is the people that you think will support you are not going to be your first round supporters. Yeah. And I think because I had that experience, I don't know, that, and my parents are Taiwanese. We are Taiwanese immigrants. Asian kids know that your parents are gonna pretty much be disappointed with literally anything that you do that is not a doctor or a lawyer. Mm-hmm. I heard that engineer is now a third option for Asian kids. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, you will always be a disappointment. Yeah, so when I was dancing, it was super fulfilling on the creative side. But yeah, at home, my mom literally, it was every night was what are you doing? Why are you doing that? You shouldn't be doing that. It's gonna, you need sleep, you shouldn't, and which, not incorrect. We should probably have gotten more sleep. But, it's they didn't understand. And even today, so what's funny is when I became a therapist, my parents didn't truly understand like what I was doing. I don't think they actually for a very long time ever really understood what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I also don't have like great Mandarin skills. It's like pretty elementary. So I couldn't really like explain in their language like what it is that I'm doing, right? So not having really the support of your family, of your parents, like saying like, yeah, you can do it, or like go for it, or whatever. I think that was pretty normal. That's kind of par for my experience. So I think like having to lean on friends and authentic connections that have like luckily flourished throughout the years, that's been really helpful. But I will say that like another thing, like speaking of like MLM business and stuff, one of the things I think a lot of people experience is like, you think that the people that recruited you, that are working with you and all of that, like that they'll be there for you. And it's just not really true after the transactions are done.
Yeah.
Is what a lot of people have experienced, I think. And I think that's sad, you know, like, and it's sad for a lot of people. And I get it though, like, hey, business is business, right? Whatever. But at the same time, it's like so much of that is built on the relationships.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, in the same breath, I do want to acknowledge that not all relationships are meant to stay forever, you know, and that's also very okay. But I think it's in the how, right? Like how you disconnect, how you know, and I'm not sitting here saying that like I've done it perfectly every single time. I think like that support system it's so important in how you can like keep moving forward. Because like I said, when the days are hard, or, you know, when you're the voice of the imposter or the voices of the critic are showing up big, you got to know who you can reach out to so that they can help neutralize and kind of broaden the scope of information that's coming into your brain, right? Because if your brain is telling you, you can't do this and so on and so forth, that's just one voice. And it's good for us to hear many, especially those who support us. I think if you can root in and ground in on your values and understand that certain times, certain values will show up and be the driving force, and other times different values will drive your actions and stuff. And that's okay. And I think the other advice, and maybe the thing I sort of like continue to lean on, is keep building your relationships and pay attention to the feelings inside your body that show up when you're around people that you enjoy and that bring out that like feeling of goodness inside of you, because those are the people that you want to be around, and those are the people that are probably going to support you in moments of difficulty. So yeah, I would say values, friendships, relationships, community. And I think you had said like, what's the advice that you would give when somebody is having a hard time starting things, right? So I say give yourself like permission to experiment. So it's really okay to just try something and be bad at it. Like, I think too much, or so often, we expect ourselves to be really good at stuff right away when we really haven't had that much experience with it. And even when you have had experience with it and you do something and it's like still really hard, or you're not good at it, like, it's okay to not be great at stuff. You know, like, I think so much of our world these days, from even before social media, because I know social media is kind of the thing that everybody just latches onto, and social media is not very great at, you know, helping to keep perspective, but we are surrounded by so many dominant stories that tell us what this and that is supposed to be. And I think that would be the piece of advice I would also share, is that like, those dominant stories don't have to be your story. And you get to create, you get to experiment, and you get to continue to iterate on whatever that looks like. You can also scrap the whole thing and start again.
Go ahead and take a look.
Okay. Wow. I'm so glowy. And like, even.
I love it.
I love that you know, like, here's the thing, like, not every makeup artist knows how to blend really well, especially for like Asian skin. And because this just looks like more of my skin, right?
Well, it's like what is that? The Korean glow that everyone's.
Oh, yeah, glass skin?
Is it glass skin? Yeah. Very youthful.
Yeah. So youthful. So prosperous. So promoting longevity.
Yes. I love it.
I'm ready for the gala tonight. Thank you so much, Trish.
Yes, of course.